Oh, well, we'll wait around and wait for a few people to hop on. I'm trying to stream to Facebook as well, but it doesn't seem to be working. Let's see. Thanks for you two the for y'all that hopped on just now. We're I'm just kind of waiting on trying to get Facebook live to go. I'm not using Restream. I'm just trying to stream two at once. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But today we're going to talk about, um, we're going to talk about freezing rain possibilities and just what's been going on and answer y'all's questions. And hopefully I can get the Facebook stream to work. I don't know what the deal is. My Facebook stream does not want to cooperate. I guess I'm gonna have to use Restream, but that's not something I want to do right now. So we'll just stick to YouTube. But anyway, if y'all hop into the chat, of course you got to be subscribed to chat. So that's something I changed probably going forward for this year. But feel free to smash that subscribe button and the like button and hop on into the chat and ask your questions, or we can just hang out and talk. Gonna wait just a few minutes here for some people to hop on. I don't have my camera set up. I need to get a mount for my desk. That's going to be something I need to do this year, especially if I'm going to do more of these live streams. Gosh. But anyway, hopefully everybody's doing okay out there. The chat back. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started talking about the upcoming weather. It's been real cold. Obviously, everybody knows that. We had that huge Arctic front that came through, and it was super cold. My pipes froze, which was real fun to deal with. But we've got another Arctic wave that just came through, and some disturbances are going to be coming through central southern plains and bringing in some rain and potentially some freezing rain. As you can see there on our little map, where the locations and amounts are going to change, so don't focus too much on that. Really, what we are going to focus on is basically just that there's going to be the potential for freezing rain with travel impacts from North Texas into Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, all the way up into Illinois, and maybe even parts of Indiana and Ohio. But that's pretty much the gist of that. That's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out. See if it actually transpires. A change of 1 or 2 degrees can be the difference between whether we have freezing rain or just cold rain. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. Let me see if I can pull up the upper level disturbance. Let's see if I can pull this up. So if you guys are, hopefully you all are able to see the live stream. I doesn't it? One of my moderators said that they couldn't see the stream, but I checked and it looks like it's there. So hopefully y'all are actually able to view this. Let's. Oh man, just waiting to see if anybody hops in. Remember, you got to be a subscriber to hop into the chat now. Something I changed just to kind of keep it a little bit more tame, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I may turn that back off, but hopefully everybody's having a good time, staying warm. Just waiting to see if any of you guys want to hop into the chat and use the stream bit rate of 6800. Well, YouTube's complaining because I don't have the bit set high enough. But yeah, we're just gonna talk about some of the freezing. Let me switch it over to my desktop here, and that's. But this is the freezing rain total accumulation over Monday into Tuesday, Monday morning into Tuesday morning, maybe even Sunday night. But there's definitely a chance of rain through this area. So let's go ahead and take a look at the upper level disturbance that's going to be responsible for this. You can see it really dips low right in here. I don't have my my little pencil to draw with, but you can definitely see that it looks like there's going to be this disturbance coming through. Let me back it up a little bit though. So if we move forward here in time, you can see this disturbance come through. You can tell the energy with the pink colors here and the purple colors. And then of course the big energy over here, but ignore that for now. And you can see this, bam, right there, right on Sunday evening. You see these upper level winds kick up, and that's where you're going to start to begin to see some rain. And then as it freezes, we may get some freezing rain. So we'll just have to wait it out and see. Let's actually see what the surface shows. Precip type. I'm going to go ahead and step through this. You can see a little bit of freezing rain here on Monday. And then as it continues on into Monday evening and Monday night, you see a lot more of that frozen precip, and then the precip kind of moves on once you get into Tuesday, and then turns into some snow up in the Midwest from Iowa, even parts of Nebraska, and over into Wisconsin and Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's going to be quite an interesting next couple of weeks as we're going to continue to have cold weather and a couple of chances for rain and freezing rain. or just rain. And there's some snow in the panhandle here, but we're getting out into the 168-hour mark, so this is kind of obvious. But that's the weather that's coming up. If you guys got anything that you'd like to talk about, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll talk about it. But man, I tell you what, a little quiet in here tonight. I don't think it's not my video is not playing all on Facebook. I was really hoping it would go to Facebook. Maybe I'll do a separate one for Facebook. I don't know, but it's clearly not working. I'm not sure what's going on there. And all these ads are crazy. Why I didn't use this before. I just put the screenshot up. Trying to check Facebook on my phone, see if it's actually going live here. But it doesn't look like it is. Hmm, figure that one out later. But oh, anyways, that's pretty much really all I have is just the freezing rain, and hope you guys have been trying to stay warm. It's been pretty cold up here in North Texas. Oh, looks like we've got a few people hopping on now. For those of you who have just hopped on, can you please let me know if if we just now popped into your feed, because I've been on for about 15 minutes and I'm not sure YouTube is distributing the live stream to our subscribers at a minimum, because we weren't getting anybody hopping onto the stream. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I see that you finally found it there, Unforgiven. Now that you're into the chat, just so you know, I turned on subscriber only mode for the chat. So, man, that's crazy. I'm trying to see if it's popping up onto the YouTube feed for me. I can't tell if it is or not. Because I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if it's showing up or not. I know that there's two. It shows two viewers on the stream. If I actually go to the stream in the studio, and then if I view the actual channel, it's there. Just want me to answer this question. Okay. I mean, it's there, but it's not. Wow, it's kind of weird. Not sure what's going on with YouTube today. Yeah, it shows now. Okay, cool. It shows now. Well, that explains why I was talking to the wind there for a minute. I mean, there was like one, maybe two people popping in, but I'm guessing that they were subscribers. So hopefully that issue goes away by springtime whenever we're streaming Storm Chasing. But I'm gonna wait a little bit longer until we get some more people in here. I don't want to wait too terribly long, but kind of hoping that YouTube distributes the feed a little bit more. Maybe it's because I haven't been on in so long. But there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I guess there is. I could just continue to do weekly live streams. Guess that's what I'll probably have to do. But let me switch back real quick to the graphic I had up. That's our total freezing rain accumulation. It looks to be, in some areas, it looks to be up to like a quarter inch or more come Tuesday morning. But it really just depends, because if it gets warm enough in the afternoon to melt it, then it's not going to be that much. That's total accumulation. That doesn't mean that's all going to be on the ground at once. So that's going to be between Monday and Tuesday. The official forecast is showing about 1/10 of an inch in my area, and then probably a little bit more in other areas. Weather.gov, and then let's go here. Ice accumulations on Monday. So from Wichita Falls over into southern Oklahoma, south of Oklahoma City, we're looking at probably 1/10 to a quarter of an inch, and there's none in the red. So basically anywhere from a trace to a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation. No, you don't see snow in central Texas very often. You really don't. But it seems like the last 2 or 3 winters, it's been kind of interesting. But we'll maybe this continues. I don't know. I was hoping for more snow this year up here in North Texas, but we haven't seen really any where I am. There was some south of me, which is ironic. But I couldn't get out to go see it. I kind of wish I had, but really wasn't able to. Could have streamed that. And it looks like we got another person in. Thank you for joining. If you'd like to join in on the chat, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. We turned on subscriber only mode. And I even turned on low latency. I don't know how long it is between the time you hear what I'm saying and the time you type in your comment there, Unforgiven, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's my internet. But definitely going to have some freezing rain accumulation from basically North Texas to basically Texoma, all the way up into parts of the Midwest overnight on Monday and Tuesday. We'll see. We'll see how that impacts travel, especially if you're driving. If you're going to be driving in those days, I'd be extremely careful, or just avoid it if you can. I certainly won't be on the road, not during an ice event of any kind. So snow on the ground, then that'd make it a little easier, because then you can at least get some traction. But ice, no, that's nothing to mess with. Maybe if I had studded tires. We'll have to see if we get another round. It's those forecast models, they change pretty regularly. I don't really trust them until I get within at least 3 days. And right now we're at Friday, so it's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is just 3 days basically, and we're barely kind of at the edge of that. So tomorrow is going to be real interesting to see what the forecast ends up being. And then, of course, on Monday, what we actually see. Because it could change quite a bit. Ads run shortly for some viewers. But, man, I tell you what, it's going to be. Hopefully, this spring turns out to be really good. I'm really looking forward to this storm chasing season. And I'm really hoping that I can chase a lot this year, but we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, we get a lot of Texas setups. That would be Texas and Western Oklahoma. If we get a lot of those, then I'll be golden. I'll be able to get out a lot more. If they're further away, like Kansas and Nebraska, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But, man. I really wish I could have gotten the Facebook one to work. I really don't want to reactivate my Restream subscription. It's like $20 a month. That's just too much. But I just don't know what else to talk about. The weather's rather boring right now, other than the extreme cold, or extreme cold for Texas. I know a lot of the northern folk. They look at us complaining about this cold weather and they laugh at us because they see this kind of cold weather every year. But oh yeah, well he's got the ability to drive whenever wherever he wants. I don't. I wish I had that ability. That would be nice. Um, but I won't be able to do that probably for at least another 6 years at a minimum. So I'm gonna be sporadically chasing as often as possible. And it also depends a lot on whether we can get the subscriber count and views through the roof. But we just hopefully we get some good content this year and some good live streams and some good tornadoes. That'd be really great. Last year Last year was pretty good, but I want to double down this year and just really get after it if I can. If any of you guys would like to join in on the chat, feel free to smash the subscribe button. Apparently, I can't talk, and I'll let you in on the chat. So, as far as snow on the north side and thunderstorms on the south side, that's pretty typical of setups down this far south. Most, if you're up further north, the temperatures are just cold everywhere. Um, but I'd have to get out a map and draw it. Let me see if I can get the show something on pivotal weather here. I don't think I have my drawing tool in here. Tuesday. This is really not a good example, but let's see. All right, let me see if I can get this to work. I'm gonna check something real quick and see if I have. Oh yeah, I don't have Epic Pen installed. Um, but oh man, I really wish I could draw. So yeah, yeah, that's for sure understandable. Let me see if I can get Epic Pen installed real quick. Oh, that was a pretty. Let me do it while I should have done this before I started, but let me download it real fast. I don't want to download it. Free download it. No, don't. Okay, and then let me get it started here. It is waiting to install. We'll talk about how these systems work a little bit. Yeah, I'll talk about it and we'll kind of get into why it's like that. Um, but I gotta wait for Epic Pen because I can't illustrate this without something to draw on the screen with. Um, all right, let's see. Let's install this. No, I don't want to start it on Windows. As soon as I get this installed, I'll do some illustrations here. Do 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 do. All right. If I can find where it went. Oh, here it is. All right, let me get out the pencil. So right here is a low pressure system. You can see that by the way the winds are going. So you can see these are going this way. These are going this way. And then, of course, you have this. I'm bringing in moisture off the Gulf right here. And then this low is basically spinning counterclockwise and bringing in moisture. So the one that you were talking about, that low went up here, and it was pretty strong. And so when you have a low pressure system, let me see if I can draw this. Um, you'll usually have like and this is going to be a really bad drawing, but you usually have a warm front, quote unquote, over here. My goodness, I am terrible. You'll have a warm front here, and then you'll have this is your cold front here, and then of course in the spring you have your dry lines back here. But we're not going to get into that. So all of this over here, oops, this is what we call the warm sector, right in here. This is all the warm sector. So everywhere from the cold front up to the warm front right here is going to be. This is the same in the spring as it is in the winter, except in the winter you got really cold air mass coming in from Canada. But in this case, all of your winter precip is going to be on the backside of this low up here. Oh goodness, you can't see what I'm illustrating. Huh. Thanks for letting me know, because I didn't realize I forgot to change the screen. Well, if I can... Why is it not doing the correct screen? That's the wrong screen. Okay, I gotta figure out why it's doing this. Local desktop, display 1. There we go. Now it's fixed. I don't know what was going on with that. Okay, thanks for letting me know that it was not working. Okay, so I guess I already kind of drew it, so let me do it again. Let me erase all this so you guys can see me draw it. But erase all this. So essentially you have, right here is where this low is forecast to be. Right here. But let's just assume that, like the last time, there's another one up here, so we can do a low pressure here. So you have a warm front here, and then you have, let me do this in blue. Here you have a cold front. And these cold fronts can extend really far. And then you have the wind going counterclockwise. You can see that with all these wind barbs here. That's how you can identify where the low pressure is. So this cold Arctic air is brought in by this upper level system and this low level, right? It's bringing in this Arctic air. So everything over here is really cold. And you got this wrapping moisture around. I don't have a green color, but this brings in moisture from the south, and it wraps it around the low. Of course, by the time it gets over here, sometimes it dries out, sometimes it doesn't in the winter. So it'll be like a dry slot. But that's why there's usually going to be snow on this side of the low, right here at the northwest corner usually. But sometimes it's even like up here. And then when it's this far north, you got cold everywhere. Even the air here, even though it's warmer, is still really cold. And so that almost looks like Pac-Man. But that's kind of why. So down here, you'll have your thunderstorms, right? Or you'll have some thunderstorms in this area. And then you'll have your snow on the other side of that low. So that's essentially what's happening. And of course, in the spring, we're going to talk about springtime severe weather setup. Let's talk about that a little bit. So in the spring, you have the same situation. You'll have a low pressure, maybe it's here over Oklahoma. And I don't know if this yellow color is going to work for a dry line, but you'll have somewhat of like a dry line here. And you'll have your dry line. Now, it might be drawing this backwards, but it have to do with warm air rising and cold air sinking, sort of. So let me see if I can draw this. So sometimes you'll have your dry line here, and your cold front will be sagging behind it. So when we talk about the cold front overtaking the dry line, if that cold front is moving pretty quickly, by the time you get storms firing along the dry line, if this cold front moves too fast, it's going to crash into those storms and undercut their warm, moist air that they're getting, and those thunderstorms are going to die off. Or if they don't die off, they'll turn into a linear mess, where you just have a huge line of thunderstorms. And then, of course, let's do the warm sector again. So here you have your warm front. I'm terrible at drawing these warm fronts. assume that that's the warm front. And then here you have the warm sector, right? Of course, I drew my low here at not to scale, obviously, and not precise, but here you'll have the warm sector, and this is where you might see lots of cumulus fields. You might see cumulus fields along the dry line, um, and then a lot of times you'll get tornadoes along the warm front if the wind shear vectors are correct. Um, but that's basically kind of how these storm systems come through, and you have the upper levels come in with these huge troughs, and you'll have a low pressure forming right here in the kind of right at the exit region, and that's how you get these severe weather setups. So, as far as warm air and cold air thinking, so yeah, I mean, air is basically going to be rising, and I didn't talk about this. Let me see if I can do undo here. So, when we talk about the triple point being a favorite area for storm chasers to target, of course, we also have the dry line. The triple point is the intersection of this cold front here, this warm front here, and this dry line. So usually that's going to be right about here. And then that's going to be where your area of greatest lift is at. Because you have the dry line helping with lift, you have the warm front helping with lift, and then you have cold air helping with lift. That's kind of the center of where everything is happening. And so sometimes you'll get storms there, but if there's too much lift, it'll be a huge mess. That's why a lot of chasers like to do dry line setups, because you'll get them bubbling up, and you'll have a capping inversion, kind of holding things off for most of the day, and then 5-6 o'clock, everything goes boom, and along the dry line. Had that happen up in Kansas the day that I missed the Andover tornado. I went up here, which I shouldn't have done. Instead, I should have stayed my original target. And so that was the day I missed that. Man, I was so mad at that day, but that's okay. It's a learning lesson for me, is to stick with your instincts, essentially, instead of second guessing yourself. And that's the trouble with storm chasing. You see stuff happening further away, and you're like, oh man, I'm bored. I don't want to miss anything, and you end up making a decision that you regret later. But yeah, that one stings. But as far as warm air and cold air, yeah, I mean, you have warm air is rising here, and then you have this cold front, and it kind of sinks in here, and the warm air goes over it, and then you've got that warm, moist air over the top of the colder air, and that's kind of how the cold front portion of it works. And so that's that. I mean, it's not terribly complicated until you start talking about wind shear, talking about photographs. I don't have any example photographs, and it's wintertime. Maybe during spring we can have these live streams where we can get into some of that. Right now, like I said, I don't have examples. I might be able to find some online, but let me turn off my pencil. Let me undo everything here. I just want to see if I can find some. Let's see. Let's see. Do we have? I want to know. What the heck? Come on, Storm Track. Maybe the National Weather Service website will not let me down. Oh, this is a good example. Okay, let me bring this over. We can talk about photographs a little bit, even though this is the dead of winter. So basically, the way that this works is you're gonna draw a line from the center here and draw your vectors. So here you have this one going here, and then you draw a line here, and then you draw a line here. Each line that you draw is going up in the atmosphere. And then so you have a vector is essentially magnitude and direction, both at the same time. So the larger this loop is, the greater the SRH is going to be. So SRH, generally speaking, is going to be the area underneath this photograph. So if you have a really skinny photograph, you can have a really small SRH. You might have a situation where you have quite a bit of SRH, but the shape doesn't quite line up with a good tornado situation, so you really have to pay attention to the photograph. This is almost a perfect photograph in terms of, you know, how this works. Of course, this is a good, this is, what is it, LMK, I think it's I don't remember what that stands for. This is minus 12 knots. Here you have what, 15 knots, 15 knots, 15 knots, and then here you're at 3 kilometers up. You're still at 15 knots, and then it gets a little stronger. Um, and then by 6 kilometers, now the wind has shifted, changed directions. So a photograph like this, in my opinion, would allow this to vent a little bit. You're gonna have all that air blowing over the top. Basically, this is a top-down view of the wind profile. So here you're at 8 kilometers, and notice the color. You're getting into the 40, 50, 60 knots up here. So if this photograph were way over here, that's when it's real big time tornado. Or it could be so much that it rips the storm apart. That could also happen. You don't want too much wind. What else do they have in here? So here's the bulk shear between two levels. Ignores shape of the photograph, which is important, which is what I was just saying. So the bulk shear vector, this is how they calculate the 0 to 6 kilometer shear vector. So if you look on GFS and we go to severe weather and you look at bulk shear surface to 500, basically 6 kilometers, that is what this is representing. That's how they do that. And that's how they calculate it, basically. But that's, I guess that's one way to look at it. But the shape of the photograph is important. If this photograph is completely flat, you're still going to have bulk shear of the same amount, assuming everything else is the same. So if all of these were down here inside this 10 knot ring, for example, well, now you don't have a tornado environment anymore, even though you have really good shear. So shape is extremely important when it comes to wind shear for a photograph. Speaking of that, I don't think. Let me see if I can pull this up on my phone. I don't think we have any recent ones, but radar scope, and I didn't really get into this in my video that I posted yesterday, has. Where's my. See if I can pull up my phone. Let me change this. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to pull up a screen capture on my phone. So that we can look at radar scope's new SKU-T maps and stuff. But I don't know what we're gonna find because it's well, there's not any severe weather right now. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. I need to reset the position. I'm gonna rotate my phone. My phone's almost dead, so I'm gonna have to kind of do this quickly. So this is my phone. Let's see if y'all's comments is up here. Okay, so if you tap on where it says KFDR Frederick up at the top, yours might be something different. We're gonna look at soundings, and then we're just gonna go pick one. See if I can look in Texas. Texas, let's do. I guess we could just do Amarillo. So this is your SKU-T. Hopefully you guys can see this. And this QT basically shows you a, well, I want to get rid of it. How do I? Okay, I guess it's not going to let me show just that. But anyway, this QT shows you, and you can zoom in on this, which is the great part about radar scopes and implementation of viewing this QT. You can zoom in and see all of the very finer grain details, whereas if you're looking at this on, say, pivotal weather, you can't really do that. The Amarillo, you can see where all these lines start down here at the bottom, and I can't illustrate this on my phone. You can see the green, the blue, and the purple, and the red lines, and they don't start until about 900 millibars, and that's because Amarillo is so high in elevation. So that's one of the reasons why those are there, because that's when they start the balloon. They're a lot higher than you otherwise would be. If this was down by Corpus Christi, you'll see that. As a matter of fact, we can just go look at it. If we go look at the Corpus Christi one, you'll see that they're way further down to the bottom. And those are the two extremes, right? Because this is Corpus Christi is basically sea level. So these are almost touching the bottom of the graph. That's when they release the balloon. The balloon goes up and it takes the measurements of the temperature and the dew point and the wind and all that. This is radar scope, not radar omega. Radar omega does not have soundings yet, as far as I know. Radar scope really did a great job with this. I really, really like it. It's going to be very useful this spring for viewing the soundings. You can get to them quickly, and you can see all kinds of other information. You can see precipitable water just right there on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see your 0 to 3 kilometer lapse rate, your mid-level lapse rate, plus your other, various different levels of lapse rates. You can view all the parcel information. You can change the parcel, and it'll show a different line on there. So I'm going to pick none in this case. But you can view hodograph statistics. Of course, there are none because this is winter. No, desktop version does not have this. I'm literally streaming my phone's screen to my computer here. And then, of course, here's the hodograph. This is what we were trying to talk about. I don't know why it's not. It's a little bit. Oh, there we go. So it's not letting me zoom on the hodograph, but you can see the upper level winds here. I just wish you could zoom. I thought you used to be able to zoom. Interesting. Well, doesn't matter. You can still see the hodograph, and you can kind of really. I don't really go into detail when I look at the hodograph. I look at the shape, general shape of it, and that kind of gives me a rough idea of what to expect. That's kind of how I use that. This QT, in my opinion, is just as important, if not more important. You can see this red line, not the also the dashed red line. If this was spring, and we'll have to show this again in the spring, I suppose, but you can see this temperature profile goes sharply to the right, and that's because there's a warmer layer of air right in that region, right? Probably starting just below 900 millibars and going up until almost 850. So there's kind of a warm layer there. So I would expect any precip, if there was any, there isn't, that was going to fall if this was a sounding up near Amarillo, for example. Let's pull the Amarillo sounding. You can also see this kind of warm layer at Amarillo as well. So if there were precip, the precip would be falling from the top of this QT down to the bottom, of course. And the blue 0 degree line is the freezing line. So that warm layer is actually above or below freezing. So I would imagine at that point that precip actually wouldn't melt. But then you see it gets right here where it gets just above freezing before it gets to the ground. So if there was precip, I would expect it to melt before it got down to the surface. So it would either be a very cold rain or it could potentially be super cooled still if the warm layer is not too much. If the warm layer is pretty thick there. I would expect it to be probably a cold rain. Of course, there's no precip right now. So we'll have to see what these look like again sometime in the future. But hopefully everybody got a good view of this. I didn't put it in the video. Maybe I could have, or maybe I should just do these live all the time to making separate videos. But if you guys got questions, feel free to ask them. I've got subscriber mode turned on for the live chat, so feel free to smash the subscribe button if you want to hear more information. And we can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about radar scope. We can talk about the current weather. We can talk about whatever you guys want. And my phone's going to die soon, so I'm going to turn that off. But unless you guys want to keep going, maybe I'll plug it in. But I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the photograph over here. Go back to live stream chat. Unforgiven, you got any more questions for me, man? Don't forget to smash the like button if you guys are watching and haven't already smashed it. Man, that delay is really big. It shouldn't be that much. I turned low latency mode on. Yeah, we do have the website thunderchasers.us if I remember correctly. Where we have basically it's a forum website where you can go and create an account and hang out with us there offline. And then of course we have a Discord if you want to have a more real time experience. But yeah, that's pretty much that. You guys got any questions? Maybe next time I won't turn on subscriber only chat. Unforgiven, what do you think? You think I should turn off subscriber only chat? I don't know if I can turn it off after the fact. Yeah, I don't think I can turn it off after the fact. Yeah, that's the website link. It looks like it tagged me in the URL. That's hilarious. But it looks like we're got a couple more people on. If you guys got any questions, let me know. We just went over radar scope. I can always bring it back up again if you guys want. It's the iPhone version. We went over a couple of things about SKUTs and whatnot. And now we're just right now we're just staring at the photograph from National Weather Service that kind of explains what the bulk shear vectors are. I'm going to go and scroll down and see what else they have. Total shear equals the sum of all changes in wind over all layers. Values of total shear are sensitive to the depth of shear layers, curvature, loops, wiggles in the photograph. Interesting. So that's another interesting little tidbit there. Photograph versus sounding. And then they have a question that they pose. What will the shape of the photograph? How will the shape of the photograph differ based on these two vertical wind profiles? So in a normal SKUT, and you can see it on the radar scope when. Ooh, hold on. What are you saying? I really wish that heart wasn't blocking me. What about the recent polar vortex? Can you be more specific about your question? Not sure what you're asking. Well, how do those? Oh, well, essentially, the way that the polar vortex works is you get all of that polar Arctic air up at the poles, and every now and then during the winter, sometimes the upper level pattern will be such that some of that cold air breaks off and drifts south into the U.S. and well Canada and then into the U.S. Um, so it happens every now and then, and we get super cold. Uh, Seems like it's happening more frequently than I remember, but that is the polar vortex. That's why it's called polar vortex, because obviously it originates at the pole, at the North Pole. So, or the South. I don't really know that it happened at the South Pole. Maybe it would be the opposite time of year for them down there, but yeah, that's the polar vortex. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's probably some nuance to it, but like I'm not a meteorologist, so to speak. So that I don't know the fine details about why they break off and all that. But photograph versus sounding, completely different. BWPs create the same shape photograph, just like different ground relative. Yeah, I guess that's it. Um, and then, of course, here's expected ice amounts late Sunday into Monday for people in Oklahoma and North Texas. Um, this is for the NWS Norman, which is what I fall under. We're expecting anywhere from a trace all the way up to a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation. Basically from I-44 and points southeast of I-44. And then a trace to tenth of an inch outside of that, to the north and to the west. Temperature trends. I don't like their graph on the temperature trends. It's kind of hard to read with all that stuff in the background. Monday morning, showing freezing rain, and then just regular rain behind it. I guess the cold air is over here. Sunday evening, freezing rain further south. Tonight's gonna get down to 17 degrees. Oh my gosh, that's too cold. Tired of this cold weather. Any of y'all tired of this cold weather? I am. So the main weather.gov homepage. You can see all these hard freeze warnings up for the Gulf Coast and parts of East Texas. They're all going to get their first hard freeze. I don't think they issue the hard freeze warning but once, and then after that they don't do it anymore for that rest of the year, or for the rest of the season at least. Because it only matters the first time, I guess. I'm not sure. But those are your current and active warnings across the state. Of course, get some winter storm warnings up in parts of, I can't see, is it Virginia? Uh, yeah, up in Pennsylvania for winter storm watches. And, man, what a crazy winter. But anybody else got any questions? We've been up for what, basically an hour now. If y'all don't have any questions, I'll probably turn the stream off, and we can probably do this again maybe next week. And maybe if we keep doing it and keep up with it, we'll get the stream put more. Maybe YouTube will push it more. I also don't want to alienate our Facebook people, so I'm gonna see if I can get stream to work on Facebook. It didn't work tonight for some reason, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to feel free to hit the join button, or use the super thanks, or while the live stream is still going, you can use the super chat. But if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to end the stream and relax for the rest of the night. And if you missed anything, you can rewind it. For those of you who did miss something, you can pretty much ignore the first half of the live stream. Most of the good stuff was in the last half of it. So, appreciate all of you guys who watch and continue to watch our videos. Hopefully this spring we are live streaming a lot more and chasing a lot more, and we'll get you guys some really awesome, crazy weather. That's my goal this next year. Also to grow the channel. That's one thing I really want to do, is see if we can double our subscriber count. 5,000 would be amazing. But appreciate every single one of you guys, and I am going to be hopping off of here. I'll stay warm.